Hello and welcome to Insights from Elsewhere. My name is Cynthia Portugal. I am Brazilian and I live in São Paulo, Brazil. I'm the Growth Director for Insight Platforms. Insight Platforms is an online media business that helps researchers find new tools, learn how to use them, and see what's coming next. We host a directory, we run conferences, and we create content for the insights industry and professionals. We created this podcast to understand beyond the big markets of North America and Western Europe. We are going to take a look and talk to professionals from Latin, Asia, Africa, and elsewhere, and trying to find how they are doing research, what is their experience with research technology, how they influence back headquarters or other markets, and how they apply the local nuances in global strategies. Today, we have a special episode of the podcast. We have a double feature with Agnieszka Górnicka from Poland. She is the founder of Inquiry International, a research company of more than 20 years expertise in research across the Central and Eastern European countries, such as Poland, Czech Republic, Hungary, and many others. And I'm also talking to Paul Gebara. He is of Lebanese origin, born in Africa, but grew up in the UK when his parents moved to the UK 50 years ago. He is a senior market research and insights consultant for Inquiry International, and he also represents Perth's PF3M consultants. It's a pleasure to have you both here today. And this is the first time we have representatives of the Eastern European and Central European countries. So it's a big thing for the podcast. Welcome. And let's start by asking you, first you, Agnieszka, tell me about your journey into market research.
Well, that was slightly unusual, but it was not uncommon at that time. I studied theoretical physics with special focus on general relativity. I really did things around gravitational waves and Einstein's theory. I graduated in the early 90s, and that was a period when Poland was transitioning from the communist era to market economy. I found my first market research job in an agency that is now Cantor. Long story short, in 2004, I founded my own research agency, Inquiry International.
What about you, Paul?
Wow, well, that was a long time ago. So I graduated from university, and then while I was looking for graduate management trainee programs, I took a year out after I graduated. A position came up for a graduate management trainee program with a tobacco company in the UK. So I joined them. I'd already had a couple of months' experience working in different sectors within it. Once I joined them, I started off market research. So really my journey into research was right from the beginning, working on international and then working in the UK. Then I left the UK to go overseas to work in Cyprus for a Cypriot company, which then relocated me to Dubai. So I ended up being in Dubai for just over 20 years, working both on the client side and on the agency side and on Abu Dhabi government as well.
And tell me, how did you end up working together?
I would say that two research freaks with an knack for adventure will find each other in an ocean. But it wasn't a pure chance. We were connected via the fantastic ICG. Paul, can you decipher the abbreviation?
Right, so it's the Insights Consultants Groups, which is, I believe, also a number of people that you know, Cynthia, are in there. So what happened is I'm a member of it, and Agnieszka contacted some people she knew in there and said that she's looking for somebody to work as a consultant, as a representative for inquiry research in the UK and internationally. And we just clicked, I think, within the first 10 minutes of contacting Agnieszka, we actually clicked together and we started working together. And the ICG group is absolutely fantastic. Just I'll plug them a little bit in here. They're a group of about 450 consultants from around, majority are from the UK, but we have some in the US, we have some in South America, we have some in Europe. And between all of them, there's about 9,000 years of research experience. So the average person there that is in the research is about 20 years. So it's a lot of experience that we have with them. And they, because we're independent, they're able to connect outwards. And this is what sort of Agnieszka contacted some people she knew there. And that's how we, without the ICG, we would never have met.
But that's amazing to have this kind of possibilities, right?
Yeah.
Thinking about the countries that you do research, like Poland and the Eastern European and Central countries, what is unique about the market there that affects the research landscape?
Well, we
You
really
can give
have
just examples of a few countries.
Well, that's Eastern Europe is a patchwork of very diverse market, but there is a common thread here, and we have an amazing story to tell because the whole region has made an incredible journey from being post-communist countries to vibrant modern markets, and every single country has a story of its own. Poland is by far the largest market with a population of something like 38 million, and it's a thriving economy too, and by far the largest market in the region.
I learned in this podcast that you should never put together regions like Central America because you have many countries with very different characteristics. Can you point out some specific characteristics or opportunities in Central European or Eastern European countries?
We have lots of different opportunities. These markets develop in a slightly different way to what you see in Western Europe or the UK. And culturally, they are as diverse as it gets. For example, take the languages. Hungarian has a different semantic structure, and the large language models don't get it. You really need someone from inside the market to be able to translate even a simple questionnaire.
Wow. Yeah, and this is something that I'm getting a lot. The large language models don't get like specific regions.
Another fact is that every single country has their own brands. For example, Poland has Allegro, a marketplace, which is one of the top brands, if not the top consumer brand in retail. And no one, not even Amazon, could beat it. It has a very strong confectionery brand, Wedel, a heritage brand. And so has Czech Republic has Kofola, a soft drink brand that is stronger than Coca-Cola in that market. So every country is different.
What are the biggest challenges to develop research and insights in those countries and get a perspective of those countries when talking about global projects, for example?
I'll jump in there, Agnieszka.
Yeah.
You know, the challenges that we tend to find a lot is when you have international and clients in particular wanting to conduct research with a group of people that are very difficult to get. So, for example, if you look at electric cars, the incidence rate of electric cars in Poland or in Central and Eastern Europe is low. It's not like the UK, it's not like the US, so it hasn't penetrated in there. And so trying to find those respondents is an extremely difficult thing. And so sometimes clients are not, the challenge is to explain to them, and sometimes they don't accept it. So for us, it's always been like, okay, well, this is the fact of the market. You would really need to understand the incident rate so that we're able to say, yes, you can get it, because they come with a massive big sample that they want to speak to 100 people or 1,000 people or whatever. And then at the end of the day, we can't because we don't have that amount of people that have these electric cars. So that's one of the challenges we have. The other one is the actual language, because they will come in wanting to conduct research, and we recently got that where they want to do the research in English in a country that English is not their primary language. It is extremely difficult to do, because and it's not recommended for the simple thing that you will lose the actual meaning that comes out of it. The same thing for you in Brazil. So if somebody comes and says, right, okay, we want to do a study in Sao Paulo and in Rio with 200 people, but we want it in English. We want to find out about what they think of Coca-Cola in English, and so you will ask them the question, and and you say, what do you think of Coke? Oh, it's nice. Do you like it? Yeah, it's good. But then if I ask it to you in Portuguese, what do you think of Coca-Cola? They've changed the taste and the flavor seems to have gone, and it doesn't seem to be as fizzy as the one that I got the other day from the supermarket. So I don't know what they're trying to do. So you will miss that human sort of interpretation of it. With a language barrier, it's lost in translation if you just do it in English. So that's why we always say, do it in the local language, and you have to do it in the local dialect, because you will get it. If you want to do subtitles, if you want to do translations of what it is, it's easier to do it from a recording, because you'll then start understanding it more than if you ask that person to speak it.
Yes, I agree. I couldn't agree more. Brazil is just like this. And what I think this is something that other markets get wrong about, especially when we think about markets that speak English, like UK or US. They think that everyone in the world speaks English as well, right? But is there any other thing that other markets or headquarters get wrong about Poland, for example? Any good stories to tell about this?
Well, it's like you mentioned about South America. People mental construct called Central and Eastern Europe as a single market, while it isn't. For example, they think they can do a study in, say, Bucharest, and they don't need Budapest because it's almost the same thing. No, it's not. So this cultural diversity cannot be overemphasized. Second thing is that people think that these countries are still the old communist bloc. They think we have white bears roaming in the streets. No, we don't. These are vibrant modern societies. And most of these countries are in the EU, which makes cross-border business and research activities easier than it was before. But the key thing is that this is a growing market. It has challenges, of course, but it has immense opportunities. And it's about this tremendous growth that we want to talk today.
What about research technology? Like you were talking about the large language models and how they don't get the specific dialects. What's your experience with tools, platforms for research and insights in the region?
Actually, it's very good. You just need to be careful how you use them and how you implement them. We love online research, especially because our markets have a larger portion of the population living in small towns and rural areas. So it would be very expensive to reach them face to face. We love online communities. We love AI enhanced tools, but you need to keep in mind that you need a human input. You can use AI moderators, you can use AI tools to facilitate the various nuts and bolts, but it has limitations, and understanding that is really very important.
Apart from language, do you see any other limitation in those tools?
These tools are developing so fast that whatever we think is a limitation is not after a couple of months. We also have large language models trained on local languages. That's also the reality. So it's a matter of time when they will be translated into local tools.
Yes, I face the same thing in Portuguese because most tools would translate into Portuguese from Portugal and not the Brazilian Portuguese.
Mhm.
So
Mm.
sometimes you have these issues and we can understand each other, but as Paul commented, when you speak in another dialect or another language, you don't give the full explanation and sometimes you don't even understand the full question. It's the same thing. What would you say is missing from the available tools today, from the tools that we have for research and insights today?
Uh, I think I wouldn't say it's missing. It's actually the thing I like. To make the report really strong and very good, we need human understanding of the topic. AI tools help to analyze the data, suggest a recommendation, but you need to understand the business to be able to tell good recommendations from bad ones. So I think that what's really fascinating is this blend of human understanding and context with the capabilities of AI tools we now have.
With AI, it is up to us to use it in the right way. Okay, it's a
Yeah.
tool, and the more that we feed into it, the more that we tell it what we want, it will do it. But then you still need that human touch, human element to be able to utilize it for maximum. It's like a computer. So when computers came into being used by everybody back in the late 90s, people were getting very scared of it because it's going to replace human beings. It's going to no, it's not. All it's done is it's expanded your vision and your expertise in terms of like going, technology is here, it's going to help us. How can we use technology to better ourselves? How can we use technology to do proper research that will cover all of the iterations when we're looking at data? Instead of sitting there looking at just column by column, AI is exactly like that. It can deep dive much quicker than a human being, but it does need the human being to look at that particular result. Does that make sense? That doesn't make sense. Oh, I understand where it's coming from, but it missed this element. So let's get in there and see where that element is. So combining the two is a very, very powerful tool. It's not about saying AI is going to do this and it's going to replace a human being. It's side by side like any particular tool that we have, Excel and PowerPoint and so on.
Do you have any specific process to train AI tools for specific countries in the region or not? Do you have a established process?
Well, we are building our own agents to work with client briefs to support researchers, but a researcher or consultant is the key figure in the process. So yes, we are putting more and more knowledge into the libraries the AI agents use, but it's a support tool, not just press the button and bang, you have everything at your fingertips. There is also one very specific thing about Poland and other markets in the region. We are relatively smaller than Western Europe, or not to mention UK or the US market. Lots of research is now being done without even touching the local market. Someone in London is sitting and designing a questionnaire, translating it with an agency or an AI tool, and back we go. Or in these days, it's doing qualitative research without even seeing anybody from the country. That's easier, that's cheaper, that works, but to a certain extent. If you haven't seen the country, if you haven't really talked to the people, you don't grasp the real local context. And this context is tremendously important because most clients come with with stereotype view of the markets here in Eastern Europe, which distorts interpretation of the data, especially qualitative.
Which is the same in Brazil, because in Brazil you have, when you're looking at different parts of Brazil, you've got the eight. They will understand what São Paulo is, they'll understand what Rio is. But if you're going up further north, or if you're going towards Foz do Iguaçu, or you're going right south, it's a different type of profile. So if you're trying to use AI to interpret that, or somebody who is sitting in London or in New York and doing a piece of research in Brazil, they're misinterpreting it. This is what we have in Poland. And in Poland is one. Then you also have the other 13 markets around that area. And each one has got different nuances for that particular country. You cannot just do a white blanket on top of it and go, oh, we'll just do it in one market, we'll forget the others. It's not. It's literally each country has got its uniqueness, and you need to understand those when you're doing research, whether it's for an FMCG, whether it's for pharmaceutical, or whichever type of client is. And that's the bits that we thoroughly, we get the briefs from the clients, we get the brief from the client, we look at it, and then we share it internally with a few people. We sometimes laugh at it because we understand that the person that has written the brief had not really clearly thought about what they want out of the research because they've done it generalization because it's a global study, but you need to tweak it, which is where we come in, because we will go back going, well, this won't work in this part, we have to do it in this particular manner. Then the team will go back and forth until we get the right way of doing it.
As you said, in Brazil, for example, in São Paulo and Rio, it would be really easy to do like online research. But if I'm from the countryside of Brazil, like some places, there is no internet reach, for example. So how you would do an online study there? What would you do for that? So we have to think about those things and who you want to represent every time we design research. And often we get put together as Latin America as one big thing, but it's completely different. Like when you see in a report, like, oh, Latin America thinks this, it's not right. You have to at least get a few different countries, like from Central America as well, or Colombia, Mexico, Argentina, and Brazil, of course. So I know exactly the pain you were talking about. Another thing that we have in Brazil now is, for example, I'm talking to people in the industry and they are saying that their CEOs come to their companies and say, oh, I want only, and I will only fund, this is Chewbacca, my cat. She wants to join the conversation. The CEOs ask, oh, I want to fund or to take further only projects that contain AI. And then everyone in the company gets really lost going around and looking for AI tools no matter what. So they don't think about those constraints and how they work. On the other hand, we have companies putting in their contracts that any supplier is forbidden to use any kind of AI, which is almost impossible in research if we think we've been using machine learning for coding since a long time, or for quality and stuff like that. But they put this in their contracts. They're really not open to know more about AI. Are there any barriers for adoption or any particular things about the adoption of AI in those countries?
Well, sure. And I would say there are two major barriers. One is that Poland, especially, it's a risk-averse market. And you can see it everywhere. It's cultural. So clients are risk-averse as well. They also operate on relatively small budgets. So oddly enough, they tend to prefer traditional methodologies because they know what to expect. AI-powered research may be cheaper, but they are afraid to choose this offer because if something goes wrong, it's of course their job. We would see this in every other major innovation. Online surveys were also slow to pick up. I can recall as late as 2015 talking to a client who said they would not accept an online survey as a methodology. So this is one thing, but the other thing is more important because it's a limitation of local tools. That's because the market is again seen as Eastern Europe, who knows what it is. So companies have more difficult access to capital. And that's, of course, absolutely fundamental in developing really innovative offer. So it's not only companies who commission research from London or New York or Chicago to take note, it's also investors. Have an eye on Eastern European markets because there's a lot of innovation also from research agencies, but they are struggling. And of course, the market, this research market as a whole, although it's now quite massive, it's no match for the UK or US. So organic growth is also limited. I would say these are the two major limitations.
Perfect. I wanted to know what's the coolest thing about AI. I want to ask both of you the coolest thing about AI that you used or heard or you were curious about, anything, thinking about research and insights and beyond.
Okay, so going back about 12 months ago, I am a volunteer with the Archive of Market and Social Research, which is a charity based in the UK. And what we do is we basically preserve market and social research report where we scan, we digitize, and we basically upload them for free to use by anybody and everybody, students all the way up to research expertise. So one of the volunteers that at the AMSR, very, very well-known lady who's written books, edited the newsletters of the MRS, SMR, and so on. And she basically is the editor for the newsletter of the AMSR. So she now uses AI very simply in terms of conducting an interview with key speakers in the industry for the newsletter. So she conducts the interview, she records it, then uses AI to transcribe it. Then when she's using the whole AI tool, there's two tools. So she uses one of those tools that transcribes it, and then the AI gives her a summary of it. So recently she had a nearly 2-hour interview that she did, all recorded on her phone. 2-hour interview. It took basically 10 minutes for AI to transcribe it. Okay, so that will save her going back to the old-fashioned way of like listening to it, putting it on her ear, listening to it, going, okay, they said this and I'll write it down. Oh, I missed this bit. Let me listen back to it again. So a whole day or 2 days of doing transcription and getting it properly transcribed so that you could understand and then pull up the story from it has gone from that to using AI where it's a matter of an hour. It's transcribed. She also has the summary from AI. She uses it. She doesn't use it. She will get some ideas from it, but she already had made some of her notes from the interview itself. I mean, that was not happening 12 months ago. Okay. But now it's happening. So that's one of like the coolest things that I've seen people using it.
Yeah. What about you, Agnieszka?
Well, I'm a physicist by training, so I'm very much into data science, and I've been watching the development of the whole thing ever since. What is now AI started in the 60s, in fact, with the first neural networks. People tried to grasp the language, the natural language processing for many decades, and as late as 2018, even 2020, it not good enough. I was in the pandemic listening to an AI lecture from Stanford. It's available on YouTube. It's very technical, but it's very good explaining all the algorithms. And it was still not there, although they were able to do amazing things. In fact, AI has many other applications, not just language processing. So the most amazing thing for me is that it works because the principle behind it is not very difficult, but it took enormous effort from the best guys in the world to find a way to really describe language in a way that was accessible for processing the way ChatGPT or other models do it now. I was really shocked when I heard this Stanford lecture that the basic principles were so simple, yet with good data and large data sets, they delivered such amazing results. And that was even before large language models were available to the public. So with this new development, I'm even more amazed. But there
It's
is one
amazing.
thing there is one
Yeah,
thing
go ahead.
we haven't discussed yet, and we would like, me and Paul, we would like to make it really one of the key themes of this podcast. So please put it
Go ahead.
somewhere in the
Go
beginning.
ahead.
I was talking about this growth of the Eastern European markets. People are in the West, in Western Europe, in the UK, US, they are not aware of this. Poland, not to mention other CE countries, get dropped from the country list because we are that strange country somewhere, not very important. It's a mistake. That's one of the biggest mistakes you can do, because Poland is now making it to G20. We are going to be the 20th economy worldwide this year. In fact, just guess. Everybody knows China was the fastest growing economy over the past 3 decades. Who was next? It was Poland. There is no match apart from China for a Polish economic growth. And if you drop off Poland and the whole region, for that matter, from your country list in your multinational project, you're missing this opportunity that a growing economy offers. And if you want growth within the EU, it's here. It's in Eastern Europe. All Europe has lots of problems of its own. And maybe, Paul, you will tell about EU5.
Yeah. When the UK was part of Europe, Poland was in 7th or 8th place. With the UK out, Poland is classified as the number 7 country in Europe, even number 5 in certain sectors. But a lot of people tend to look at it as, it's still their mentality. It's like it's a hidden secret. People don't know this.
Wow.
It's Poland itself is, if you look at the research in itself, is something like $210 million. This is according to SMR. Okay, so it's ranked way. I mean, it's a huge market in terms of market research and what they do, but it's a hidden secret. If you look at Poland and the other 12, 13 markets, you're talking about $1 billion industry. Okay, it's not UK, it's not US, but it's a big market, and people overlook it because they just think, oh, it's a little small market, but it's a big market. And it's a market that it's a hidden secret. And specifically Poland, where it's so advanced in terms of what they do, it's a massive tour, a lot of tourists go there, but up front with a lot of companies, they will come and they will perhaps do the one research a year, thinking, oh, that's enough. It's a very, very strong, dynamic country, okay, and diverse. So, and it's a big country. in certain cases, you'll find that it's higher in terms of technology than Germany, for example. So it's a very key thing that people are aware of it. Don't sort of skip Poland because you think it's the poor sister of the rest of Europe. It's not the poor sister, it's a major sister.
You should really visit Poland. Everybody who makes it to Warsaw, people say, "Oh, I didn't realize it's such a modern, clean, safe, vibrant city. Food is great, participants are nice." So visit if you have important projects to run in Poland, visit our country. You will really learn a lot and you will understand your findings in much greater detail.
Polish food as well. I had this friend in college and she was Polish and she would do these amazing dinners. Every time she went to Poland, she would buy the ingredients, bring back to UK and do like Polish traditional food, amazing food. But I've never been there. It's a shout out for me as well to go there to visit. Well, and this is amazing because I think, as you said, Paul, US and UK are huge markets, but they're also full of competitors and saturated with everyone competing among themselves. So thinking beyond those markets and understanding that you can grow brands and grow businesses in other countries, it's a huge opportunity because you don't have the competition that you have. You don't have the market so developed as it would be.
Really, I mean, for us, it's the thing that, Poland is on the map, but it's still hidden off the map,
Yeah.
and part of it is just, it's like telling people about it, educating people about it, and telling them that, consider it as a primary market and not a secondary or a tertiary market, researching it.
Definitely. Now, to close, I could chat for hours, guys. I'm loving this chat. But now I want to hear from you. What is your favorite research methodology? Can be anything.
Agnieszka?
Well, for me, it's online communities. AI-powered traditional, it's so rich in detail. It allows you to capture behaviors and emotions as you go. And it's scalable. You can have 8 people, you can have 800 if you want. So it's really so rich that the only real challenge is to sift through the data and find the hidden gems. I love it.
Yeah, I
What's your
agree.
Paul?
I agree. And the thing is about it that you can see the results live as well. So you're not doing any analysis, but you can see the respondents' answers as they're coming through. And that's what makes it exciting because, when you've got such a big sample and you see one, you think, oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's an interesting one. It allows you to be able to get a live feel of what's happening straight away.
What would be the most exciting trend in market research today for you?
It is the trend, but we can see an emerging pattern that AI is blended with human input, and that's actually the best thing because you get really the best of the two worlds, machine processing of natural language or quantitative data for that matter, and human understanding of the context of the whole history of the market.
Yeah.
And the client.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically, it's the tool itself, which is now elevating us and the excitement of how we use it rather than be scared of it. It's to use it as a tool and let it help us what we want to achieve. And that's what, I think that's where we're heading.
What would be your piece of advice to someone starting their career in market research today?
Be curious. I think that what keeps us going, that we get up in the morning and see the world, and we are thrilled to learn what has changed since yesterday. It's constantly evolving. The markets
Yeah.
are fresh maybe not every day, but every year. There are new consumers with new trends and new consumption patterns. You will be never bored.
Exactly. You need a mentor to make sure that they have a mentor. And to also, because of the nature of the industry that we're in, we've got conferences, events happening so much in so many different parts. And all those people who organize these events and conferences generally run short of volunteers. So, as somebody new to the industry, get involved, be a volunteer at these events because you will get so much back from it in terms of what you see, the type of industry it is. And that you won't get in books or you won't get online. This is one of the key things about, if people see you and you're chatting, one conversation, it will give you so much more because you're not reading it trying to absorb it. It's somebody who said to you that you were not expected to speak to. Volunteer for events and conferences is key, is one of those things, and a mentor.
This is amazing.
I would add something to the trends because there are two major trends that are a little bit in the shadow of this AI story, but they are equally important and they are shaping our industry. One is that the market research or insights role is now central in any consumer-centric company and in many other organizations as well. It's not someone doing their tables in the furthest cubicle down the corridor.
Yes.
It's now a role that has a voice at the board meetings and really can influence major decisions. That has changed since we both started our career. And I'm thrilled about this development. And I frequently find myself talking to the board rather than a junior researcher at the client side. The second development is with the advent of online tools. It got so much cheaper that it's now market research as a process is now democratic. You can be the biggest company in the pond and you will have your insights department, but you can be a small company and you can do research as well. This year we had a real research project from a company with a turnover of about 1 million euro annually. Small businesses can also benefit from market research. Some of them grow quickly thanks to their elevated thinking.
Amazing. Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I love that market research is being accessible for more companies and more people now. Sometimes I say to small companies when I do mentoring and stuff, just ask away. If you don't have any budget, you don't have anything, go to Google Forms, do a decent questionnaire, send to a few people. It's not ideal. It's not well planned and designed, but it will give you something to start with. So I completely agree with that. Well, thank you so much. It was amazing talking to you today. So for everyone listening, we talked to Agnieszka Górnicka from Poland and Paul Gebara. He is living in the UK, but with Lebanon background and born in Africa and all of that. And they talked about their experience in the Eastern and Central European countries. And they gave this big shout out about the fast growing market of Poland and how many companies are missing this growth and missing this opportunity to grow together with Poland because they just don't look into it. They are looking at the bigger markets as UK and US, and they are not looking where to expand. So a big shout out about this amazing economy. We also have a lot of tips for starters in the field and what are the roles of researchers and AI and how research is done across the region. It's a very interesting podcast, very deep in a lot of understanding about these countries and the region. So thank you very much, Paul and Agnieszka. It was a pleasure having you here.
Thank you very much.
Stay
Thank
tuned for
you.
next episodes and subscribe to Insight Platforms to get the news from the insights industry straight into your mailbox every week. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Agnieszka. Have a very nice end of day. It was a real pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you likewise.
Thank you for
Thank you very
having
much.
us.